Good evening and welcome to the September 26, 2017 school committee meeting. We're happy to have you join us. Tonight's meeting is being recorded by Easthampton Media. The Easthampton Media channels 191, 192, and 193 is looking for volunteers. If anyone's interested in helping to tape city government meetings, please contact Kathy Lynch at 413-203-1360. Another announcement that I have to share is the fact that I have reviewed the minutes of all of our executive sessions from January 1st, 2016 until September 21st, 2017, and have determined that matters have been resolved and therefore those minutes have been released. I wanted to share that information. Okay, Superintendent Rollins, do you have some announcements for us?
Yes, I do. The next regular school committee meetings are October 10th and 24th, November 14th, and December 12th. There's a half day of school on Tuesday, October 3rd for teacher professional development. There is no school on Monday, October 9th due to Columbus Day. There are half days of school on Thursday, October 19th, and Friday, October 20th due to parent-teacher conferences. For community members or others who do not have children in our schools and want to receive the superintendent updates, which come out weekly, please visit our website at www.epsd.us and click to subscribe under latest superintendent update.
Thank you very much. At this time, we review the correspondence that's been sent to us, but I don't believe we
don't have any correspondence.
Okay. Do we have any gifts?
So, no, we do not have any gifts. No, I'll make it. Well, there'll be a gift at the next meeting.
Okay. We'll look forward to that.
Got to get this organized in my head.
Thank you.
Sorry.
We look forward to hearing about that. Okay. At this time, this is the public speak portion of our meeting, and we invite anyone who would like to come and speak to the committee on any topic to do so at this time. Okay. Looks like no one's here to do that today. Okay. We'll move on to our subcommittee reports. I know the Finance Subcommittee has not met.
We have not met.
The Policy Rebuke Subcommittee has met, and I know we have minutes attached in our folder.
We have minutes, and I would ask the committee to. We can review the minutes. Any questions related to them, I would ask that we delay to the next meeting because the cold that you still hear in my voice began that day, and I was unable to attend the meeting. So I wouldn't want to speak to the minutes having not been there. I think it would be better if Sarah Hunter or Marissa Prairie. Although I suppose you were there, Superintendent Policy. I'm sorry, you could.
I was, but I'm not sure that I should speak for them.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think since it's in the public record, we're continuing to work on drafting a school resource officer memorandum of understanding, and I think progress is being made there. I know that that process is going to continue. I know that another meeting will be set up. Obviously, it won't be established tonight, but there will be another meeting focusing specifically on that. And then I think items 2 and item 3, I would just have to leave for people to read them, and then we can ask more of our colleagues when they're here. If that's all right.
Sounds good. Okay, Collaborative for Educational Services.
We meet tomorrow night, so at our next meeting I will have an update.
Okay, great. Thank you, Cindy. And we do not have an education policy update tonight because Marissa is not with us this evening, which would bring us to, and we do not have our student representative here too as well. Okay, we're really light.
Tiny night.
We're light on membership tonight. Okay, we'll be moving on to the superintendent's update.
It's too bad because I know, having been in the park at least twice in the last week with my own cross-country kids and being able to catch parts of soccer games. I thought I saw the boys' game against South Hadley. Here I'm going to go on TV saying I think we won that game. I think Easthampton won that game. And but the point is, there was a great turnout. There's a ton of people down in the park enjoying. The most recent time was yesterday. I believe the girls' varsity team had a game yesterday, And again, there was a huge turnout. At the time that I went by, the score was, nobody had scored yet. It was relatively early, but it's terrific that so many people in the community are turning out to support those teams as well as others. And I know, I don't think we reported on this, but we did have earlier this fall a fun run on the new Williston course and the new Easthampton High cross-country team. Perhaps, Karina?
It's a club.
Club. But it was great to see all those folks out there, and again, I think, and terrific after years of Williston taking advantage of the generosity of the community and running our races through the park. Here we were able, now that we have a new course that we're excited, that's entirely on Williston property, and at the sort of inaugural event on it, this new cross-country initiative that's going on at the high school was there. So there's a couple things that I've witnessed. I'm sure there's many others. And when I was in the high school earlier this week, yesterday, it was, it just, you always walk in there and you see folks doing good work. The kids in the library working away, the classrooms that I walked by, the teachers that I talked with. It was terrific.
And I will say that Patty Doherty, our athletic director, did give me information, an update on our sports teams and how well they're doing, and they all appear to be doing very well this year. And I put that in my superintendent update that went out today. So I'd encourage everyone to check that out and get some news on our teams on athletics.
Great. Okay. And now for your official update.
Yes, my official update. Okay, so at the last meeting, I was asked to talk a little bit about the BEST program at the high school, at the middle school rather, what it was and what BEST stands for. And sure enough, I was not the only one who wasn't sure what BEST stood for. It's an acronym that was developed years ago, long before I became a superintendent. But our current special ed director believes that it stands for Building Essential Skills Together. That's our best guess. She is currently trying to take away all of the acronyms for any programs, special education programs in our district, so that we don't encounter this difficulty in the future of not remembering and having historical knowledge about what those stood for. But I did include a piece in your packet about the BEST program. It does serve students in grades 5 through 8 in a small, structured and academic learning environment. It serves students who aren't able to access the curriculum in a regular education classroom. It is served by a certified teacher and paraprofessionals who work to support these students in being able to continue to access the curriculum that's grade appropriate, and to include them in regular education classrooms when they are able to and when it's appropriate. The program goal, as Sarah Mochek, our Director of Special Education, defined it, is the BEST program's sole purpose is to assist students in developing the necessary coping, self-regulation, and social skills to maintain engagement in and availability for learning in the least restrictive environment. The program's worked very well for us at the middle school, and we did certainly consider it as we began the design process for our new school building project. And all of that information is on the website as well for you to access the pictures of the designs and maps of the program. If a student is found no longer eligible for special education, then the student is no longer eligible for the BEST program and would be become part of the regular ed program in our middle school. It's been very successful, and we have very dedicated staff who are working to support these students. Any questions on that?
Just a note, under the exit criteria, I think at the very end of the sentence, the meaning is clear, but I think the phrasing could be squared away. It says the team can determine that a student placement in the BEST program, period. And I think it means that that student can be transitioned out of the BEST program. So that's all. I mean, I think the meaning I think is okay. It's just that it's not precisely clear. Excuse me.
Noted. Any other questions on that? Okay, the next item that I was asked to report on were the enrollment figures that we shared at the last meeting. Those were preliminary enrollment figures, so every year we take a reading of how many students are in our each individual level and how many are in the classrooms, and we give that to you just as informational data. The official data comes in our October 1st report to the state and our March 1st report to the state. That's the official enrollment data. So I did provide some more data for you in your packet. You can see the official data for June of 2016 and June of 2017. That would be based on the March 1st reports to the state. And I've given you the most recent data for September of this year. You did ask me about the change in enrollment from grade 10 to grade 11, and I did get some information on that. We had, in grade 10, we had 5 students who moved out of the city of Easthampton. We had 1 student who transferred to Smith Vocational School. We had 1 student whose family decided to homeschool that student. We had 3 who did not have enough credits to be in grade 11. They lacked enough credits. We had 1 student who withdrew, and we had 1 student who decided to use an online educational program for their schoolwork. And these different reasons for students leaving and choosing other options, there were many different reasons for that. So I hope that helps.
So thank you, that does. And in looking at the net revised data, the movement between the two is smaller. So there must have been some net. There must have also been some new entrants to 11th grade, because
Yes.
you've described in the previous meeting we had about a dozen students, and you've described, and we end up with a net of only 7.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And
We
now
did-
with the sophomore class growing by 5, it's, the population going from 9th and 10th last year to 10th and 11th this year is 2 students different. It's essentially no change at all. Thank you.
And we do have we have had a number of students choose the choice program to enter our high school. And some I know are in 11th grade because I signed those approvals. So that also makes a difference. And families move into Easthampton during the school year and change the enrollment.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay, school building project update. So Mayor Cadger and Dale Doron, our Director of Business Services, Alan Minkus, our Owner's Project Manager, and Bert Gardner, our project architect, and I gave a presentation at the Massachusetts School Building Authority's Facilities Assessment Committee. That's a mouthful, FAS. On last Wednesday, September 20th. In Boston, yes, thank you. So it was a long drive, and it was a 20-minute presentation. They told us it was a hard 20 minutes, so at the end of 20 minutes, whether we were finished or not, we were finished. So we drove to Boston for this presentation, but it was a good experience. The FAS, the Facilities Assessment Committee, met to hear the city's presentation on the proposed school building project in order to provide feedback to the city before the proposed project is presented to the board for approval. This was an informational meeting only and was intended to provide an opportunity for the MSBA board to better understand the city's proposed project. We were asked to present the key components of the educational program that informed the design, and our designer, Bert Gardner of Kalo and Beanick, was asked to list the options studied during the feasibility study, briefly present the key factors that led to the selection of the preferred solution. So during the feasibility study, we had to do an educational program for every project that was to be considered, and then a design, an initial design for each of the project. Our designer was also asked to describe in his presentation how the proposed layout of the preferred solution meets the educational program and the needs of the students and teachers. to demonstrate the flexibility of spaces within the building and describe how the spaces can be used for multiple purposes, including purposes that benefit the community. And following the presentation, board members asked a number of questions and gave some recommendations for us to consider as the preferred schematic design is prepared for a presentation and board approval. Yesterday, the school building committee here in Easthampton met to discuss the questions and recommendations of the board and to consider those recommendations. And this week on Thursday, a few of our school committee, school building committee members will be visiting a school in Shrewsbury, to look at some of the FAS committee recommended that we consider in our final schematic design. We are anticipating that the final schematic design will go to the board in December. We will have some more school building committee forums between now and then. And we encourage everyone to come to the forums, but also to visit our website, because there's a drop-down menu for the school building committee, and you can get lots of information on the project. We also encourage you to send any questions you may have, to myself or any members of the school building committee, so that we can get as much information out about the project as possible. I think that's the update on the, and Deb Luznia is on the school building committee as well, and I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add.
No, I think that sums it up.
Thanks, Karen.
Looking forward to going to Shrewsbury on Thursday.
And if you don't mind, I would just like to add that our superintendent stated that the presentation is 20 minutes, and they mean 20 minutes sharp. And so Nancy started off with the presentation, and then Bert, the architect, finished. It was really wonderfully done, very impressive. And the fact that Bert finished with a minute to spare was really good. And this group that sits there from the Mass School Building Committee Authority, the questions that they ask and the suggestions that they give, you can tell that they spend a lot of time reviewing this. They are experts on these projects, and it's always a pleasure going there, because these meetings and suggestions and comments are just to help the district succeed in our project. So behind every one of these things is good intentions, and it is their intention to do everything they can to help us succeed in this building project for our new school. So I just wanted to commend Nancy and Bert on that. It was very well done, and their suggestions were very good, and we scheduled the meeting to go over those, and hence we're going to Shrewsbury. So we took their suggestions very seriously, and some of them we were already in the process of considering.
So, and I've spoken about this in other meetings, so there's a very lengthy process to get to a school building project approval by the board, and it started with a visioning process over a year ago, where we had parents and community members and school department people and students and a wide range of community and school people participating in 2.5 days of visioning. So the visioning process informed the original designs, and the original educational program was to match that. And then as we've moved forward and refined the designs, we've understood that some of what we envisioned during the visioning process, sounded very exciting, but when we start thinking about the cost of it or the efficiency of it, as pointed out to us by the board members, we could see that there were some things that we would want to think again about and revise. So it's been a good and thorough process. And again, we urge any of you to who have questions to let us know. We'd be happy to answer them. Okay, an update on the 10-point action plan, our school culture and climate update. As you know, the Attorney General's office delivered a memorandum of agreement to us which the school committee members signed. And the 10-point action plan is closely aligned with that MOA. I was able to talk with the attorneys from the Attorney General's office since last April, either through our school department attorney or through interviews with them. So I was aware of some of the ideas they had in terms of how we could actively address the issues that we confronted in our district and in our high school. And but in addition, when this first happened back in April, I contacted the Collaborative for Educational Services and had Dr. Sapphire DeYoung come and start working with us immediately. And so with that support, and we also had support initially from the Department of Justice, we began to put a plan into place back in early April. We were asked by the Attorney General's office to not share our plan until their plan was ready as well, so that we would share all of our plans together. And that's exactly what we did. So now we're taking lots of steps to put the 10-point action plan and the actions required by the MOA into place. So a little bit of an update. Last time, Action 1 engaged staff in anti-bias training. We did that in August before school started with our high school and middle school staff. And Action Step 2 was engage students in anti-bias training. Because we had to put things on hold over the summer, I was able to start up again with the Department of Justice Community Relations Service branch and Muhammad Ali Salam, who had talked to me back in April about a program they have called SPIRIT, Program for Students. And SPIRIT stands for Student Problem and Identification of Issues Together. And they were willing to come and bring this program to our high school. And so fortunately now, of course they were booked with a lot of other school districts at the beginning of the school year, but fortunately now they have time to meet with us. So we have a meeting with them on Thursday of this week to plan for how we might bring this into our high school. On Action Step 3, provide parent and family training. We've been a member of the 5 College Consortium for a number of years, the 5 college areas here. And Julianne Levin, our Director of Curriculum, participates in the 5 College Consortium meetings, and she's begun to work with them on forming a partnership with a UMass professor who teaches social justice courses to possibly do a presentation for our families and staff. And Julianne Levin is also preparing a training at this point in time. We hope to have a training for families take place in the month of October. And Action Step 4, update policies and procedures. Principal Burke and Assistant Principal Wilson are meeting with faculty members, students, and school council members to review and revise the student handbook. The work currently continues on the student handbook. A draft should be completed on this Thursday, and it will go to the staff for input before it is brought to the school committee in October for approval. Along with that, Action Step 5, develop a bias incident response protocol. The draft for this protocol should be completed on Thursday of this week as well, and I will be reviewing it with high school staff and our Director of Curriculum, and then when it's in publishable form, it will be made public for everyone, and we'll put it on our website.
Excuse me. So when do you see that happening, that being completed?
Well, the draft will be ready on Thursday. I am not available.
The incident report?
The bias incident response protocol.
Sorry, yes. So that's going to be ready Thursday?
The draft is going to be ready Thursday. Yes.
Sorry, I missed that piece.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably the final protocol won't be in place until maybe 2 weeks later.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give you an update on that. Action Step 6, convene a stakeholder advisory committee. An application for parents, staff, and students who are interested in participating in the stakeholder advisory committee is now available on our website, our district website, in the culture and climate link. And so I would encourage anyone, any students, parents, faculty members who are interested in participating in the advisory committee to have a look at that application and complete it. The deadline currently for the completion of that application is October 2nd. We've received 11 applications so far, which is good, but we'd encourage anybody who's interested to please fill out an application. The applications will be reviewed by Dr. Sapphire DeYoung and our curriculum director, Julianne Levin, and before final decisions are made.
And how many people are you planning to have on that?
I think they were looking at around 15, a number that's not too large. I think that was about the number they were looking for.
So there's 11 applications right now with a hope of 15.
Yes, what I would say is that we would like to have a broader spectrum of people applying. We need more students to apply, so I'm hoping that we can get some more students to apply. And we need some more faculty members to apply, and we always would welcome any of our family members to apply to.
But the deadline is October 2nd.
That's correct. However, if we
might just
don't get all of the
That's what I was going to ask you.
constituents that we want, that we certainly would extend that deadline.
Right.
But we're eager to get the student advisory up and running, or the stakeholder advisory, rather, up and running. And then in addition, I just wanted to let you know that there's some trainings that administrators are going to be taking, participating in, including myself. There's one, the District Attorney Safe and Healthy School Summit. Some of you may have heard about that one already. And the focus of that this year is promoting respect, civility, and dignity. It's a conference to explore how to cultivate a respectful school climate, and it's October 26th in Northampton. So administrators from the high school, myself, and some of our other building administrators will be participating in that training. There's another training put on by the Department of Justice called Responding to and Preventing Incidents of Hate in K-12 Schools. It's a conference in Worcester on October 24th. It is sponsored by the United States Attorney's Office. And I did forward information to school committee if there are any of you who are interested in attending. So the Easthampton High School administrators and I will be attending that, along with some of the other administrators in our building. And so that's an update on where we are so far.
Thank you very much, Nancy, for all that.
Any other questions?
Are the lessons that are in the culture and climate section of the website lessons that are representative ones that teachers are using? So, for example, I'm looking at the one on Confederate monuments and their removal, and it looks like a good lesson that in the hands of our faculty could be a powerful learning experience for our students. I'd be curious, just so that the site would make clear which of these lessons someone in the community would know the students at Easthampton High School are having access to, or is this just a representative sample of some of the options of what teachers are considering? I mean, I think again, and it's just the teacher in me probably, and I don't want to use up valuable school committee time, but I think it would be great to have, and I know how busy the teachers are, asking them to come at night and to make the presentation to us about how the lessons that they've been doing, because it seems like when we talk about engaging staff and engaging students and potentially even parents there, it looks like sort of this is these lessons are at the intersection of a couple of these 10-point plans, and it would be great just to hear from perhaps a couple students and a couple of teachers about how that process is going.
So the lessons were put on the website as reference material for our teachers, and we certainly can do a survey and determine who's used what. But I do know that after the anti-defamation training, a number of our teachers took some of the lessons from that training and have been using those in their classrooms. So I could see if some of those teachers might be willing to come and share, or if teachers are doing some of these other lessons, we could take a survey and see if people are willing to come and share how they're using this information.
Right, and I think even if it were to start by simply getting a sense of, you know, the sophomore U.S. History 2 class is used, the one on the Civil Rights Movement, or, you know, something. I think it would begin with providing information that goes from this is what's available to a sense by me as a school committee member and people in the community about this is what the students and the teachers are actually engaged in. These are some of the conversations that they're having, and this is how it's going. Because I can only imagine from my own experience that as soon as you try to implement one of these lessons, it teaches you 3 things that you didn't know or didn't expect, and then there's more opportunities for learning and progress there.
No, good idea. So I will check on
Yeah.
that.
So before we ask students and teachers to come and use that time, I guess I would first just love to get a sense of, you know, how much of this is being used and sort of where in the grade level sequencing.
And Nancy, I would love to go to the Department of Justice training in Worcester, the one on October 24th.
Great.
So I don't know if you're keeping a list, but I'd love to attend.
Okay. It'd be wonderful to have you attend. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know, just to add one other comment, I know early on in the spring when there was a host of resources being made available, and I know expense is a factor, even if we can't necessarily access organizationally the offerings, I do think it's important for people to know that it is not just, I mean, as you point out here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different groups other than the 80. I know that the American Civil Liberties Union, you know, as an advocate of figuring out ways to build students' strength and self-confidence and awareness that the discussion of difficult topics is not designed to create a difficult environment for them, or I would say an unnecessarily difficult, because I think, you know, soccer practice is difficult, biology tests are difficult. We're not trying to avoid difficulty. But what I think is important is that people in the community know that, you know, that we're trying to grapple with this question of what exactly diversity means, and you know, sort of what does that look like and how do we define it. And I would encourage us to include some of the resources that are available from the ACLU and some of the advocates of how we can err on the side of free speech in the you know, in the context of public education, because I think that's an important part of this, and it can be a healthy part, handled well. It can be a healthy part of this overall educational approach.
Thank you.
Nancy, I have a quick question. The October 24th Department of Justice conference, I would love to go to, but I would have to have my school district approve it. So when would I have to let you know? When's the latest I can let you know?
There doesn't seem to be a closeout date,
Okay.
and you know, we had to register, but there didn't seem to be a deadline. So
Okay.
it would be great professional development.
I was hoping I can sell it that way.
Maybe I can help you. I do know your superintendent.
So maybe I can work on that this week, because
Yeah,
I
that'd
would
be
love
great.
to do that. I think that would be really nice.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? No. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we're breezing right along. Matters for action.
All right. I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Easthampton Public School Committee meeting for the 14th of September in 2017.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
There's a motion. It's been seconded to approve the minutes of our school committee meeting dated September 14th, 2017. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And then we have warrants. Sorry, I switched over. Hang on. I was looking at the for payroll. I move to approve the school payroll dated 28 September 2017 in the amount of $476,300.44.
Second.
We have a motion that's been seconded to approve the school payroll dated September 28, 2017, in the amount of $476,300.44. All those in favor? Motion passes.
And I move to approve the accounts payable authorization for the payment dated 28 September 2017 in the amount of $212,591.90.
Second.
There's a motion that's been seconded to approve the accounts payable authorization for payment dated September 28, 2017, in the amount of $212,591.90. All those in favor? Motion passes.
And we will need additional signatures on all four of these, so before folks head out for the evening, be sure to sign these so that we can give them to Sue and have them ready for,
So a total of 4, okay?
there's 4, yeah, right, there's 2 for each.
Just for general interest for anyone with us this evening, the school committee does review all expenses prior to the school committee meetings of officially voting to approve payment for all of these.
Right, and Kathy answers the
expenditures.
questions that we have about different line items and different amounts. I know that in my experience of doing it and not precisely understanding why is there being $6,000 spent on this, or whatever the amount may be, and we do get very clear, precise answers about how the money is being used and spent.
And
And I
Nancy has given me quick follow-up when I'll call her, what's this?
And I review the complete warrants, whether they're weekly, the city side are weekly, and the school committee side, their payroll and their accounts payable are bi-weekly. So I also review them
I
to
just thought
the
it's
auditor.
important
They're
for-
presented to me to the auditor for signature on a different.
Right.
It's important for people to know that
Yeah.
because it looks as though we just like approve this stuff, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of work that goes into
Yeah.
it to get to this point. So I just wanted you all to know that.
Suitcase full.
Right.
So I apologize. Maybe it's. We're about to go into a work session.
Correct.
Do we formally adjourn? Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
I move then that we adjourn the regular session of the school committee and move to a work session.
Second.
There's been a motion to adjourn. It's been seconded. All those in favor? So we will be moving to this conference room to a work session.